Now that The Voice and Dancing with the Stars have crowned their winners, there is a bit of a void for reality talent shows. Enter in America's Got Talent, but with the on-camera return of Simon Cowell, who put American Idol on the map. With that show now defunct, Cowell is coming back to the chair to impart his knowledge, or as some might say, his venom, to all kinds of entertainers. In this interview, Simon explains what led him back to be a judge in front of the camera in the U.S. and moving from a creative visionary on America's Got Talent to a judge.
I used to come down and produce the show. I used to sit in the audience and I used to look at them and I thought, God, this looks so much fun, this show. And always when you're in the audience, you kind of think, actually, I'd want to be on that desk so I could do something. I used to like these variety shows from America years ago. Things like Live at the Apollo and stuff like that. Loved them. And I liked the fact that there were more than singers. And then when we started these singing shows, then there were just tons of like copycat shows, all with singers. And I literally used to yearn for like dancing dogs and stuff like that. And in the end, I thought, if no one else is going to make it, we might as well make it ourselves. And it wasn't meant, with some big plan. I just thought it would be a fun thing to do. And then, year by year, it just got bigger and bigger. Actually, sometimes the best things are things you don't plan out that much. And the show kind of developed into something else the more that we made it. But look, the good thing is it relies on people turning up. And where we got lucky all over the world is just brilliant people turned up with these things. You never could imagine half the things we see on this show. When you're devising a singing show, you kind of know what you're going to get. On this show, you can have like an elephant dancing or a cat playing the guitar. I mean, you just never know what's going to happen. The crowd are vicious here. I mean, in England, we give them about 10 seconds before we boo them. In America, you get about half a second. Literally, they're on their feet booing. It's like, they haven't even started yet. And people think, I'm the mean one. I'm like turning around going, you lot are unbelievable. But that's what happens when you sort of allow them to be what we call the fifth judge. They really take it seriously. I always find it very funny what we do, because when we used to do auditions years ago, before I actually used to televise what I do for a living, it was like being back at school. I used to do these auditions and I would literally cry with laughter. Whether you're on camera or off camera, it's not a very good thing to do when you're actually auditioning people. So I just find it funny when somebody really bad comes on, and they're really bad, and I'm sitting there thinking, are you listening to what I'm listening to? I find it hysterical. And then I kind of think it's kind to say to them, honestly, don't waste your time. It's hard enough if you're good. It's impossible if you're awful. So I kind of think it's like a public service. We've seen some bad, and not just bad, but like mad. And I'm always curious, which is, what was the moment you decided that you were going to do this and then try and win $1 million or whatever, and take over Vegas? And they always answer you really seriously, and I find that quite amazing. The good news is, and look, you're never going to find a perfect first audition. I really don't think that exists. Our job is to see or hear or look into the future and go, you've got something. It's not perfect, but with the right song choice, with the different direction, whatever, this could be amazing. And that's the exciting thing about doing raw auditions. It shouldn't be perfect. And actually, if it is perfect, it sort of gets boring. If someone becomes a star, I like to go back to that very first moment where I can say, I sat there the moment we discovered you. And I never, ever forget that moment. Over the years, I've been lucky enough. We've discovered a lot of good people, and I can genuinely remember like it was yesterday, the day they walked into the audition room or they walked onto the stage, and we were part of the process. And sometimes with people, I genuinely feel without the show, never would have had a career. And that's what amazes me about the show here when we do the show in America. We get these amazing gospel choirs, and some of the people have never been on, some of the contestants have never been on an aeroplane before. And I kind of think, oh, without this show, the world wouldn't know you. So, that's what I enjoy about it. You are determining their fate, but the public determines their fate. You give them an audience. But it's the audience reaction that really makes a difference, because a lot of people go on these shows, do really well, and nothing happens. You've got to have that extra 5-10% where you can actually connect with an audience around the world. And you've got that ability now with YouTube and the internet that you can become famous globally in 30 seconds. I mean, that's incredible. I never used to have that. And that's the world we live in. So you're always searching for that person, that audition. And the good thing about America is there's lots and lots of talented people who haven't been given a break, who are now going to be given a break. And that's why I love doing these shows. Let me start with Howie. I said to him a moment ago, why I love Howie is I used to think I was weird. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm a 7, sometimes an 8. He's an 11. So he makes me feel better. And he's always happy. I've never seen him unhappy. Maybe he goes home and cries for hours after working with us, but when he's with me, he really, really is happy. He's like having a sort of a grown-up puppy without any hair. Like a human dog. Always wagging his tail. But he's also got a very strong opinion, generous, which is rare with people who are famous. Famous people do not like finding famous people. They really don't want to find another star. And he does. And that's really unusual. And I knew that from the day I first met him. So he's generous and weird and eccentric. I know I like Howie a lot. I knew him and I would get on well. Well, I've known Mel for years. In fact, I tried to sign Mel when she was in the Spice Girls and she turned me down. So it's just ironic that we're both sitting at a judging table now. Mel's the same, actually. Mel is the unsung hero of the Spice Girls. I knew what her role was, why the group was successful, why they continue to be successful. And her story hasn't been properly told. And she's smart, and she's got really good instincts. Fantastic with the younger contestants. And then sometimes she just has the most appalling lack of taste, where I'm sitting with her thinking, are you honestly looking at the same thing I'm looking at? But I suppose you kind of need that on a panel. Do you know what I want with Heidi? You know, is there like a remote control I can just have for Heidi Klum, where it doesn't affect anyone else other than Heidi? We just turn down the volume, and then no one can hear Heidi. Everyone else can be heard. Her voice is so weird, because it's sort of half German, half American, half God knows what. And she sort of sounds about 3. I'll say the nice things about Heidi. She has surprised me, actually, because I liked her when she was on the show, but I don't watch every episode. But she has amazing attention to detail. And she's a very good judge. Really is a good judge. Because, not all models are the smartest people in the world. But we got lucky. We got the smart one. It's all about what translates from us onto the edit. I have a feeling if what I've seen is as good when it's edited down, it could be fantastic. But like I said, it's with that understanding, you're not going to see perfect to begin with. You're going to see a story develop, which is hopefully people getting better, definitely getting more competitive. That's the one thing I can do. Make people want him. Or I don't want someone who just wants to be on TV. I want somebody who wants to win. That's the whole American thing. You got to find winners. And the contestants should hate each other, and they should all be fighting for that $1 million prize, and that makes it exciting.